Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation. This program is suitable for general viewing.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is the 18th of September 2025, 17 minutes past top of the hour, 8 o'clock. Ladies and gentlemen, our beloved viewers, welcome to Live Real Talk tonight, where we are talking about planting trees and saving lives once again. I mean, we can never stop having this conversation. We should never stop talking about Gaza, because guess what? That is what the world wants you to do. They want you to stop talking about Gaza. They want you to stop talking about the genocide. They want you to stop talking about the illegal occupation of Gaza right now that is happening by the apartheid state of Israel. And tonight, we are still talking about that conversation of how you can plant a tree and save lives this coming Sunday at the Uhuru Park grounds. And joining me tonight, I have two amazing gentlemen who have been consistent about the whole topic of Gaza, to further dispense, to further look into it, and to show you the importance why you should plant a tree to save lives. Nurdin, my brother, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
As we are waiting for our senior and our elder, our big brother, Mheshimiwa, to join us, maybe we can pick it up from where we left it last week.
Yes.
So far, 1 week has passed down the line. I invited someone, by the way, for the event. Yesterday, actually, I was having a conversation with her, and I asked her to come, and she said, one thing she asked me, do you have the police clearance? Are you sure we are not going to have problems at the event? And I'm asking you this because of two major things that happened. When the genocide started, a group of young, concerned people start thinking about what they can do about Gaza. And they were arrested in a restaurant. And then 3 weeks back, there was an event, 4 weeks back, Riding for Palestine, an event that happened. People organized just to drive around with Palestinian flags to show solidarity for Palestine. And it brought problems. So then she asked Faisal, are we cleared? Are we okay to have this event? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes.
First and foremost, I will start from where I left. That was last week. Allow me to say that I have personally, with the help of others, taken notifications to the regional commandant Nairobi at Milimani Road.
Yeah.
I have also done the same with the OCS Central Police Station. I have even gone there today as well.
Okay.
I went to the regional commander's office, and I also saw the OCS Kimathi at Central Police Station to see how things are. Now, allow me to rest any fears that might be there. We have totally complied with all legalities. That is notifications. You know, the law says notifications. It's not permission.
Okay.
So the reason for notification is so that they can offer you security, so that they can help you have a smooth exercise and a smooth campaign that you intend to have. So anyone that is still afraid, this is not a protest. It's not mandamano, all right? By mandamano, I know myself. I know what mandamano is because I've been part and parcel of that. This is nothing like that. This is purely, one, a conservation drive. We want to plant trees. That is what we want to do, of course.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, we also want to educate people on what is happening there in Gaza, that is. Those who don't know yet, who might be living under a rock, sadly. And then also, there's going to be a fund drive, all right? You know, when you buy the tree, a portion of the money will go to buying trees, the others will have a medical aid, because our brothers and sisters in Gaza also need help. So that is what we are doing. There'll be a lot of activities, like I said the other time. There'll be fun games for children. It'll be like a family day.
Okay.
There'll be tents for those who don't understand the history of Palestine. They'll be educated on the same. There'll be merchandise. You're encouraged to buy merchandise. There'll be food. Vendors will be there. And all these proceeds are going towards helping people in Gaza. So that is the intention we have.
So by and large, you are guaranteeing people, our viewers basically tonight, that on Sunday there won't be any issues and it is safe for families to come out.
Yes, there are no issues, and we keep having these engagements with the police officers. And inshallah, tomorrow I also have another engagement with them, just to make sure that everything is okay, all right? And not just them, because we also have 30 inspection officers from the county government who are actually going to help us, issues of parking, issues of safety, you know. So everything has been organized, and the security is in check. And nothing will change, inshallah. We hope everything will go smoothly. So people should come from wherever you are. Come with your family members. Come with your wife, your husband, your sister, your brother, your children. Come and let's have a good day, inshallah.
Shukran, jazakallah khair. Mheshimiwa Bilokero, assalamu alaikum. Mheshimiwa, my chairman, you know, he's a Majlis member. He's my boss, actually, sitting here. It's a privilege to have you. Thank you so much for making time for us. You have been extremely consistent on this matter of Palestine, even before the genocide started. You're one of the voices that have been consistent about this matter, doing articles, 5, 6, 7 articles daily, posting on various digital media to talk about it. Someone would ask, what is inspiration? Why are you so interested about that? Here we have a lot of issues affecting us as Kenyans. Why would you do that? Someone of your stature, an accomplished finance professional, and we are struggling with our economy, a political economist right now. You could do a couple of other things. Why are you so interested about Gaza and what's happening thousands of kilometers away from Kenya?
Thank you very much. Faisal, you know, I can give two answers. One as a Muslim, and one purely from even a humanity point of view. As a Muslim, the issue of Palestine is a fundamental issue. If you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messenger, Palestine is a very important place. It's one of the only places that have been mentioned, apart from Mecca, that has been blessed, described as having a blessed land, a holy land in the Quran. That is the place, and it has a huge other importance in Islam, which I think requires time for me to go through. But that is one of the reasons, because it's a fundamental aspect of our belief that you must have that confidence to support Palestine. Again, it's a place where, for information, the third holiest mosque is information. The third holiest mosque is the Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem, in Al-Quds. And so, from the perspective of the religion, is a critical item. That's why I support it. Then, from the humanity point of view, I think in our lifetime, and I'm sure even before our lifetime, there has not been a situation where genocide is not only taking place, but is being live streamed to the entire world, and you are seeing women, children, men being killed, being bombed, being stabbed to death, and even the worst atrocity of brutality and barbaric treatment of human beings ever that we have seen. I think even the historians, even the people who are experts on genocide, have all concluded that this is genocide. Not only genocide, but it's one of the most barbaric, where you are really, literally having that area under siege. No food and water is being allowed in. People are being stabbed to death. People are being bombed. And so it's one of the most tragic things. That's why you find all over the world, anyone who has got the conscience, human conscience, is moved by what is going on. And that's why you find demonstrations and protests being held all over the world. And this is why it's really something that has changed the tide against Israel. And today, Israel has become a pariah state. It's a country that people that believe is really becoming a terrorist nation, and that's why the other day the government of Qatar said what these guys have done. This is a terrorist state, and because they don't seem to comply with any humanitarian law or any international. They're in breach of every law that you can imagine. The ICJ, the ICC, the UN, every institution that you can imagine.
All the conventions
have said this is genocide. This is not acceptable. This is ethnic cleansing, and so, and then when you look at the history from 1948, and before that there was a country called Palestine.
Yes.
Now you're told there's a country called Israel, there's no Palestine. They don't even want to use the word Palestine. Some of them actually say no, they don't want to make any reference to it. So I think for humanity, this is something that people find is unacceptable. And so I think we have to, as people in this world, express our solidarity with our brothers there, and really do whatever we think is possible, to support them.
100%, Mheshimiwa. Still on you, rightly so, as you've said, this is something that has been consistent since 1948, and until we got here, clearly we did not wake up one morning and find ourselves here, right? As we speak, in a world of 7 billion, I think majority of people, of citizens, are actually with Palestine, but the governments, most of them, when it started, even they were supporting Israel, but again, as time went on and the genocide escalated, we've seen a number of them now shifting and changing tide. So then I'll be interested to know, what are some of the enablers then that have really enabled Israel to continue?
Oh, it's simple. It's the US and countries in the world governments particularly, cannot speak about this matter, or even if they can speak, they cannot take any tangible action. Particularly European countries, you find them, speaking, expressing concern or this or that, but not taking any specific action, including our own countries in the Arab world. You saw the meeting the other day.
Until they were hit.
There's no country that can say we are going to do this and do it. And this is because of the influence and the pressure in the US. The US has reached a point where now, in their own country, it has become, they've criminalized, things like Zionism. They have criminalized criticisms of Israel. Last week, they passed a law. And they've reached a point where now the government is applying pressure. If you are anti-Israel, you may not get support, you may not get aid, you may not do this. And we've seen countries who have been penalized because of that expression. So I think, lastly, I want to say that if you look back in the history, Israel is not just a state of Israel. Israel is an entity that has been created by the West, to serve a certain geopolitical and economic interest in the Middle East. So that's part of the reason why they stand fully with Israel over the years. This genocide is not the first time. It's been happening. Gaza has been, West Bank, all of them. When in 1948, these guys announced a state of Israel, over 90% of the country was still occupied by Palestinians. Today is the opposite. Palestinians now occupy less than 7% of the country. And they're still being displaced through ethnic cleansing in every. So this is something that, as a larger political interest, that serves those countries in the West.
Interesting. Thanks so much, Mheshimiwa, for that. But my brother Noor, you are a young professional and you have a lot, very ambitious young man, still wanting to make it in life. But again, you find time to do this, right? A couple of professionals, you talk to them, be it journalists, doctors, lawyers, whoever, IT experts, people in media and marketing, they come out with excuses like, we have a leadership, a Muslim leadership that should be acting or be doing something about it. We have a government that should be acting about it. What then inspires you or pushes you as a person to take part still in activities or events that are standing in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Gaza?
First and foremost, I'm a Muslim. There is nothing bigger. The fact that I'm an advocate, it doesn't come before being a Muslim. All right? So, and I don't believe just because I am seen to take a stand on this, I will lose anything courtesy of my profession. I know where my risk comes from at the end of the day. And then secondly, this is not the first time I find myself in such a situation. Some would say that I'm a government critic, which is even worse, you know, because I live in Kenya and I appear on shows like this and I call black, black, white, white. You see, I just can't stand injustice. That's how I am. So at the end of the day, if everyone back then when we were seeking to get independence, everyone got cold feet, would still be under the white man. So, and every journey doesn't need everyone, all right? Some will start it, others will come and join, and that's how it goes. So at the end of the day, when I got a call to chair the legal committee or co-chair it, I was ready, you know, and the reason behind it is because people need to understand what is going on. And so you asked a question, we have so many problems in Kenya. How does this benefit, for example, Kenya? Kenya has a tree cover problem. 5,000 trees, if I'm not wrong, Mheshimiwa, would actually help this country because we are planting trees here, not in Gaza at the end of the day. So, and last time I checked, the president had a 15 billion tree agenda. Yeah. Until he gave us a Mazingira Day. Yes. So we're actually helping him go towards that, all right? So as we do that, we also help our brothers and sisters in Gaza. So it's a win-win situation. We protect our country and also help those who need help. So at the end of the day, I do believe that everybody has a role to play, depending on what you want. And there's something you asked, for example, how this has enabled Israel, how? He said US and the Europe. There's also something else. Businesses, for example. That is why that same day we'll have a talk and discussion on why people are saying boycott certain businesses. You're a Muslim, you go to a certain cafe or franchise that supports Israel, for example. So when you're told boycott this, you need to understand why, all right? So that will also be told then, that is on Sunday. So people get to understand where you're told a certain business that you go or you frequently visit, that you purchase some things from, a cafe you eat at, helps Israel in whatever it's doing. And this is a disclaimer. You don't have to stop going there if you don't want to. But it's good you know, as a Muslim, that your money is being used in helping eradicate another country, all right? So at the end of the day, I do believe it's a good day, a day worth everyone's time that is a Muslim. And also I've invited those who are not Muslims. Last time, Isaiah, you asked me, some asking, why not Congo? It's for them to come and realize that we have an entire place where they'll be educated, how, like you rightfully say, the history of Palestine. You get to understand why people are talking about Palestine. Ask yourself why a government like South African government will wake up one day, go to ICJ. Why would they do that? Because they do understand the struggle of the people in Palestine. So you also need to understand, as a Kenyan, why some people are saying that this country is going through hardship. The UN is not crazy to come up and say what is happening there is genocide. And as a country, for example, you're saying some people are afraid. As a country, last time I checked, Kenya recognizes the state of Palestine. We have not gone back on that. So you coming out here today, courtesy of your freedom of expression, and saying that I stand with Palestine, there is no element of criminality. It's the same way if someone was to attack Uganda, for example, you would say the same thing. So up until we decide as a country, so that hasn't changed. So there's nothing wrong with standing with the people of Palestine and planting trees.
100%. I want you to hold on that thought because we are, Mheshimiwa, we are due for a fast break. We need to pay our bills, play some advertisement here. But again, just to give you information, 3 days ago, that is on September 14th, 2025, courtesy of boycott, BDS, boycott, divestment and sanctions. One country in this world that is taking boycott extremely seriously because of what's happening right now in Gaza, that is Bahrain. Carrefour were drowning into losses until they closed shop. Why? Because their company or parent company was lewd or accused to be supporting the genocide that is currently happening in Gaza. This and much more after the break.
HorizonTV, the beacon for the nation. Verse of the day.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
وعباد الرحمن الذين يمشون على الأرض هونا وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما والذين يبيتون لربهم سجدا وقياما والذين يقولون ربنا اصرف عنا عذاب جهنم إن عذابها كان غراما إنها ساءت مستقرا ومقاما.
Are you looking to stay informed about the amazing stories within the Muslim community? Do you want to hear inspiring stories and insightful discussions about faith, culture, and current events? Tune in to the Muslim Insight, your weekly news updates where we tell you stories that matter to you. The Muslim Insight, informing, inspiring, every Friday from 8 a.m. with me, Zamzam Ahmed.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
Enyi mlioamini, munapoitwa kuhudhuria swala ya Ijumaa, fanyeni haraka kuikimbilia, muache biashara zenu, hilo ni bora ikiwa mwelewa.
Isikilizeni kwa umakinifu khutba ya Ijumaa
ili uzidi kujenga imani yako na kupata faida nyingi ya siku hii.
Coming to you every Friday from Jamia Mosque, Nairobi.
Live on HorizonTV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to Live Real Talk, where we are talking about how you going out on Sunday to plant a tree is going to save lives through the tree that you're buying. Part of it is going towards buying the seedling. A big chunk is going towards the fundraiser medical kit for Gaza that again will be channeled towards purchasing of drugs and other medical equipment which are needed in Gaza right now. There is malnutrition, there is hunger, there is starvation happening in Gaza right now, courtesy of the apartheid state of Israel. This is why you need to come out on Sunday, show your solidarity with the people of Palestine. More than anything, get to know why are you showing your solidarity, more than the pictures you're seeing, more than the stories you're reading. Get to know, get to hear from people of knowledge, from researchers, from journalists, from people who have been there themselves and they've experienced it. So come out on Sunday and let's know more about that. Mheshimiwa, you had something to say on what Brother Noor
I think even from where you left it, this function of Sunday is not just about planting trees. It's an expression of solidarity with the Palestinians who are undergoing genocide in Gaza. And so it actually starts with a ride from solidarity, ride from Adams Mosque all the way to Uhuru Park. And it's happening all over the world. I mean, anyone with an iota of humanity in him, you know, and sees what's going on live, children being blown to pieces day in and day out, would express solidarity, would really want to be there on that Sunday to express solidarity to those people, because it can happen to you tomorrow. And it has happened. We've seen genocide in many parts of the world even before that, you know, and so it's sad that today the entire world, even despite the existence of the Geneva Convention, which requires every nation to take whatever action is possible to stop it, no country is willing to do anything because of the influence of
Israel,
the US. So I think as Muslims, personally, I know we believe that trees, just like every one of us, will on that day of judgment become a witness. These trees you are planting today, it will be a witness tomorrow against these people who are doing these things, and for you also having taken the opportunity to do that. And by the way, only this week, on Monday, 250 congressmen, US congressmen, you know, they're still in Israel. And one of the first things they did on the second day of their visit is to plant trees. For them, is to commemorate this occasion where this massacre and genocide is going on. You can imagine that. And so imagine we live in a world where people have gone there to express solidarity with Israel, to be on their side and tell them, we are with you, go ahead and do what you're doing. You know, and this is the sad thing. And then the rest of the world, you know, not being able to take any action and just watching, you know, hundreds of countries and, you know, billions of people, like you said. So the least we can do at least is to come out and express our solidarity. And at the same time, it's creating awareness. There are many people in the country also who may not know actually what is going on, because our media, like every other Western media, does not really cover some of these things.
And does not give objective reporting on the matter. And
they don't even cover it. You know, you find people being killed day in and day out, but they don't cover it. And so I think creating that awareness is very important. And then lastly, I want to add, you know, Palestine, Kenya is not just, they not just recognize Palestine, but Palestine has an embassy in Kenya. It has an embassy, it has an ambassador.
Yes.
And even when I was in Senate, I represented the foreign ministry, the government, in two of the, you know, the Palestinian days, and read the speech on behalf of the government. So they have an embassy, they have an ambassador. So it's a country, you know, that has a seat in the UN, with over 143 countries recognize Palestine as a state. So it's not just some group of people. It's a state that is being attacked by an occupying nation. It's like when we went through colonialism, another country colonized. So Palestine today is a colony, you know, of these settler colonists who are now, you know, running. That's why if you look at all the rulings by ICC in 2004, if you look at all the resolutions of United Nations General Assembly, it recognizes Israel as an illegal occupying force, you know, of Palestine. And there are so many UN resolutions, by the way, that urges every nation in the world to support Palestine to gain its independence from Israel. From Israel. And if you look at some of those resolutions, they were passed at the same time as the one for Angola Mozambique and South Africa and all of them. In the later ones of 1990, you'll find actually resolutions on Palestine specifically, and urging and UN saying they can use any means possible, including armed struggle. This is why all these Palestinian groups who are fighting are deemed, by police to be resistance fighters, to be freedom fighters. The only countries that call Hamas terrorists is the US and their friends in Europe. But the UN in 2008, when the US tried to push that Hamas should be, categorized, they said no. The UN rejected. Said this is one of the many legitimate groups that are fighting for, the independence of Palestine.
You've mentioned a very important point, Mheshimiwa, about a lot of news outlets, particularly the ones in Kenya, they're really not showing this story. But again, you see how the media works is that the media gives you what you want, gives the audience what they want, because we're all chasing for views and likes, because we're in the business of giving information that people are interested in, right? So the fact that the information may not be forthcoming, may not be mentioned as it should be, as several as it should be, that means there is, by and large, lack of interest from the population, from the Kenyan population. Why do you think that would be the case? The Kenyan population are not interested to hear about the story. That's why they are not talking about it. Today, if you sell a Gazette, for example, on the front page you have this and this person, all the splash headlines, you're saying this and this person met politician X, met politician Y. I'm a politician X said something about this. Then you're going to get a lot of views, or you're going to get a lot of purchases of that newspaper.
No, you see, the newspapers, if you read any newspaper in this country, anywhere in the world, they report extensively on the war in Ukraine. Extensively. Look at the duplicity. Look at the, the double standards. When you see the reaction, particularly of European countries, and many others, by the way, of what happens in Ukraine. If a Russian missile hits a residential block, then you see what happens. It becomes a headline story. Here, people are being killed by the hundreds daily, hundreds, and you're seeing it live on some of the TVs that cover, but it's not important. So clearly, what particularly the Western media has done is to show their duplicity, and they have been called out. Actually, you've seen, what CNN, BBC, all these media houses have been called out time and again on their, double standards when it comes to reporting. They deliberately use terminologies, or even deliberately avoid give everything that the occupying force says or does is deemed to be fine, and everything else that is on the other side is that these are terrorists. So this is media is, they do what they want, and so I tried. Like, let me tell you, when this thing started, I was publishing articles. I know some of the major newspapers here who refused to publish my articles on Palestine. I had quarreled with the editors, and I gave up. They said they're not going to publish. So I said, okay, I'll put it on social media. I left it. And that's deliberate.
Well,
but the embassy, somebody writes on behalf of Israel,
really
written thing is published.
I'd like to hear your opinion on that as well.
It's simple. They control the narrative, and they will decide what is worth discussing. They will decide where they want to shape your thinking, your opinions on. That is why even in Kenya, for example, you have so many issues, but the front page will always be something political, in as much as maybe you have some underlying issues that are more serious. So they shape the conversation, sadly, and to them, as it rightfully says, if to them they do not see it as something worth having, then they won't do it. Maybe they have a stand, right? Does it come from a point of ignorance? I don't know. Does it come from a point of lack of interest? Only they can answer. But at the end of the day, it's not because Kenyans don't want to know, or people don't want to know across the world. But at the end of the day, social media is the new media. The legacy media is actually competing in social media at the end of the day. So I do believe like rightfully says, if they can't publish the article, post it on your page. It will still get the traction it's supposed to get at the end of the day, and people will still see it. And here we are talking about it right now. Maybe they thought he was talking to himself as he was posting, but he's here sharing the same knowledge. So at the end of the day, I do believe that it's not, I go back to that, it's not because people don't have an interest, it's because whoever owns the media controls the narrative, shapes the opinion, sadly. And that is why, as it rightfully says, Ukraine is publicized more.
No, you see, look at some of the largest demonstrations ever held in the world happening in the last few months of this genocide. You've seen what happened in Sydney. You've seen what happened in Japan.
Yes.
You know, millions marching.
Unimaginable, Japan of all places.
Not on national TV that they follow. Everybody follows it on social media, because no national TV wants to report, because you get in trouble with the US and
the powers that be.
The powers that be. So you find the demonstrations in London some of the largest. So it's happening in every corner of this world. People are on the streets. People have expressed their disgust at what's going on. But governments have hung on, because of
the interests
of the various interests.
But at the end of the day, the citizens do control, by and large, or should rather control the governments, what the government does in terms of different policies, finance policies, legal policies, foreign policies, and all that. So if we as the Kenyan people, for example, want our government to come out strongly and declare, for example, Israel an apartheid state or whatever is happening there as genocide, what should be stopping us? I'm going to start with you, Mheshimiwa, and then we hear Wakili from the legal side.
Yes, Kenya is a member of the United Nations. The various UN organs, institutions, special rapporteurs, including this week, one of the key UN organizations, all have declared that what's going on is genocide. UN has, for many years now, declared that what's going on there is apartheid. And so many other reports have also been issued in the past. There are not less than, there are actually hundreds of UN resolutions condemning Israel for many things, including from 1948, displacements, massacres, so many. I mean, it's countless. So Kenya is a member of that house, that UN. But the way the UN works is that in the General Assembly, where every nation has a voice, resolutions are passed. But when it comes to enforcement, it's the UN Security Council, where now one nation can express its veto power and then nothing happens, and the US has consistently, and you saw it just, the duplicity of US, its complicity in the genocide about last month.
Yes,
they stopped the Palestinian Authority, which is the Palestinian government in the West, which is based in the West Bank, from attending the UN, simply saying, no, we're not allowing you, no visas. And countries saying, okay, we'll go and do it in Geneva if you guys don't want to allow. So, I mean, it's clear that the bias. So the government of Kenya itself, in some of the votes on the UN, they have consistently voted to support that condemn what this Israel has been doing. They have also decided to abstain when they find the heat is a bit. But unfortunately, the government of Kenya has not come out strongly to condemn the current genocide. Really expressing it in the way which many other countries, even in Africa, have expressed. I think they have they've shied away from that. And I think one of the things that we expected the government to do, really, as many other countries have done, including in Africa, is to come out and say this is genocide and it must stop. I think we have not seen anything strong. The other day when Doha was bombed, the government issued they've shied away from that. And I think one of the things that we expected the government to do, really, as many other countries have done, including in Africa, is to come out and say this is genocide and it must stop. I think we have not seen anything strong. The other day when Doha was bombed, the government issued a statement condemning it.
We always condemn. We always condemn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We cannot come up. We cannot come out like Spain came, and they said, no, we are cutting ties, we are stopping relations, we are doing this, we are taking these actions. Cannot come out like, for example, South Africa said, you know what, these are the measures we are taking as a country. So what is stopping us, from a legal side, as a people, to push our government towards that direction?
You see, in addition to what he said, the other problem our government has, it doesn't have a clear foreign policy. You don't understand our stand on certain matters due to the fact that it's a bit cagey. Sometimes they come off as trying to be tricksters. You know, around people wanasema kuja tuongea tuwezi kosana. Like you talk to this person, you try to be in the middle.
Cocktail diplomacy.
It doesn't work, you know, at the end of the day. So I do believe that, as he rightfully says, African countries have come out, you know, they've made a stand, and nothing stops you. So, but it's 3 years down, into the reign. I don't see their foreign policy changing. I told you that last week. So we leave it to them. But at the end of the day, I told you, as a member of the UN, and the fact that they recognize the country that is Palestine, nothing stops you as a Kenyan from standing with the people of Palestine. Nothing stops you at the end of the day. And there's no crime in doing so, because you don't lead any militia or anything of the sort. And neither are they militias in their country, you know. So at the end of the day, you can't force a government to have a foreign policy if they don't believe in having one. You just pray that you have a better government moving forward, so that you can actually be able to have a spine. Because, you know, lack of coming out clear on your foreign policy shows weakness.
But it might come, you know. In 1973, remember when Syria and, you know, that war with Israel in Sinai, OAU actually acted very, very strongly. All African countries, except I think 4 countries, they cut relations with Israel completely. In fact, until recently, many countries in Africa had no relationship, no diplomatic relations with Israel. Just in the last 2 decades that they've started going back. Particularly after some of those Arab countries started having relations with them. You know, after the 1984 Egypt signed peace accord with Israel, and, you know, all this, Jordan, and this is when some of the countries started also. But otherwise, in 1973, every African nation was strongly with Palestinians, and this was because of the colonial aspect, because all of us suffered the same thing. You know, ANC is a terrorist organization. Mau was a terrorist organization. Every country was. So the struggle has been the same. We are all in the same boat at that time, and this is why many African countries, you know, had that solidarity with Palestine. So it's only these newer generations who are
so you put bigger on us.
You know, the sad thing is, Kenya as a country would understand what's happening in Gaza by virtue of hosting so many refugees in this country, being a safe haven. So you can't be a safe haven to those who are suffering and then ignore other people who are suffering. So you see, it doesn't make sense if you ask me. That's why I'm saying it's a bit cagey and more like it's like tricks, you know.
Can you just say we are blinded by our interests, just like many other countries? Then
might be interest, might be fear. Only
the government may be blinded by interest, maybe not wanting to come out and declare a certain stand because of the powers that be globally.
Of course,
can that be a reason?
You know, it's for many countries. The US did come out actually a few months ago and said, look, countries that do not play ball with regards to even Israel, you could suffer higher tariffs. You could be punished in one way or the other, and this they made it loud and clear. Even to some of the European countries, it's reached a point where, you know, the US said, look, if you're applying for visas and you have written something on social media on Israel, you know that it's true.
Yes.
They've reached a point where universities in the US are being defunded for, you know, simply having protests by students.
Allowing their students to do the protest.
I mean, this thing is, you know, so there's a lot at stake for some of these governments, particularly those governments that have to rely on aid and loans and so forth, and, you know, have a lot of other economic, you have to, trade is one of the key issues. So I think there are many things some of these countries are looking at, but unfortunately, you know, in doing so, the casualty is humanity.
Well, That's a very interesting point. Mheshimiwa, thank you so much. In the interest of time, I think we are going to wrap it up here tonight. But thanks so much, Mheshimiwa. Thanks so much, Wakili Nuddin, for making time for us this evening. Jazakumullah khair. And on for you, our viewers, on Sunday, I am going to be there, and I hope to see you there, inshallah, as well. From 9 a.m. is when the ride starts.
People should be at Adam Sakid by 9.
9.
So that is when the ride starts from Adam Sakid all the way to Uhuru Park.
To Uhuru Park.
So the function starts at 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Inshallah, and then we're going to have prayers there, we're going to have food bazaars there, we're going to have merchandise stalls there. And you also, if you also want merchandise where you can showcase your stuff, reach out to Voices for Palestine, and they will tell you how to go about your payment. Remember, whatever you're paying to get a stall there is actually going towards supporting the medical fund campaign for our brothers and sisters in Gaza. My name is Faisal Qasim, and this has been the Live Real Talk. See you next week, same place, same time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.